Let's talk main points. Pruning ornamental trees. Hey, Mark Vitosh, District Forester, Iowa DNR. Mark, tell us some main goals why folks prune their ornamental and shade trees.
General goals for pruning shade trees, Billy, can be a number of things. One thing is safety clearance. Most people, if they've got a shade tree in their yard, they're going to want 6 to 7 foot for safety clearance if they're mowing or playing in the yard, playing soccer. The other thing is we can actually improve the structure of the tree. If we take out weak angle branches, broken branches, branches going in the wrong direction, and we can get those branches when they're smaller and we create smaller wounds, we can actually improve this tree's life 20, 30 years down the road if we take care of it now. The key to pruning young trees is it's not all done in one day. It's a process for the first 5 to 20 years of that tree's life. One of the biggest myths that people make mistakes on is if they have a branch here at 4.5 feet, their philosophy is that if they wait 10 years, that branch is going to be somewhere up there. So if you have a branch at 4.5 feet, that branch will always be at 4.5 feet. There's a couple places where trees grow. They grow at the bud tips here on the branches, they grow at the root tips, and they grow in what they call the cambium layer underneath the bark in the trunk and in the branches, so they get bigger in diameter. So the great concept of looking at this young tree is, if we know we want to prune up to 6 feet, I'm actually 6 feet. So that means that every branch below my head is a temporary branch that is helping this tree currently, and over time you will actually prune that off. That means everything above 6 feet, those are going to be branches that we want to make sure that we promote the quality ones up there, because those are the ones we're going to keep long term. When we fertilize the yard, that doesn't feed a tree. The way a tree actually feeds itself is through these things called leaves when they're green in the summertime. Problem is, if we come in here and we prune all this up at one time, we're taking a lot of that food making material away from that tree. If we do it slowly over time, we actually develop a tree that has good taper at the base, and is going to be it's going to be much stronger in wind and development over time. And the goal is to minimize the wound, so we want to get those lower branches off before they're 2 inches in diameter. The longer we can leave those lower branches as we're going up, the better. In a tree like this, it may take you 8 years to 10 years to get up to that 6 foot clearance. One thing it's really important to understand when you're pruning is to know the species that you're pruning and working with. And with oaks, most oak trees they want to have one nice straight stem. If we can develop one straight leader, that leader is going to grow straight up and basically get branches off it over time. Now in this case, this one has a U shape, and those tend to be stronger. But in general, if they're V-shaped, we tend to want to take one of those leaders off. If they're V-shaped, they're usually very weakly connected. If we prune those now, we may eliminate damage that would happen 20 years down the road in a windstorm. You generally don't want to take more than 10 to 20% in any pruning, but the more we can keep that tree in crown long term, 65 to 75% of that tree in crown, even as we develop it, that tree is going to be stronger.
Let's talk mechanics of proper pruning. First and foremost, avoid these 2 areas when pruning. The swollen area where the limb attaches to the trunk is called the branch collar, and this portion in the crotch of the limb in the main trunk is the branch bark ridge, this raised area. These are protective zones. They make sure that decay does not enter the main stem of the tree. The 3-point cut will help protect these areas. First cut will be on the bottom, second slightly up on the top. That will take the weight off of the branch so you don't have cambial tearing. And then your final and third cut, take that stub off. Again, not compromising the branch bark ridge or the branch collar. This is why we do it. Proper pruning, the tree will rapidly close over that wound and encapsulate, like we see here. One big concept to remember is that trees seal. Let's check back in with Mark. Mark's pruning an oak. He's doing a lot of good things. He's pruning at the right time of year, which is later in the dormant season. February and March. He's targeting the right size limb, and he's using the 3-cut method, which protects the branch bark ridge and the branch collar. Excellent job, Mark. This tree will be structurally sound and vigorous throughout its life.
The future of your trees and your forests start with you.